Heartopia is a cozy life simulation game that released earlier this year. It seems to be doing pretty well and amassing a huge fan base, but players have noticed something disturbing. One of the only darker NPCs in the game eats a poisonous mushroom which causes him to dance around like a monkey. You know, I'd be offended if this wasn't so unoriginal. You know, after centuries of racism, you really think these people would come up with something more creative? No? Okay, well, time to explain racism again. Heartopia was published by Chinese company XD Inc. This isn't their first PC game. They are also known for mobile games including Sausage Man and Flash Party. Their history is blaringly obvious in Heartopia because, well, their game looks like mobile gacha game slop. I'm sorry, but the graphics and gameplay look uninspired and underwhelming. My Sims was the worst thing to happen to the games industry. They basically look the same. There's also the inherent issue with the pricing model. I don't play this game, so I could be slightly off with the information here, but apparently you buy this in-game currency called hearts, and you use that currency to roll for random items within a set. You don't even get to pick which item you get, which sounds like gambling. This seems very suspicious and predatory in nature considering this game is marketed to younger audiences. Anyway, players who loved and supported this game were very deeply offended by this quest, and rightfully so. Scientific research has been written for centuries for the purpose of dehumanizing Black people. This is for many reasons, but it's most prominently because of our dark skin and Afrocentric features. Our wide lips and noses are unique from really any other race of people, and it's commonly used against us to be seen as undesirable and even subhuman. According to this article from theconversation.com, throwing bananas in front of Black sports people is a common racist provocation even today. This isn't an old folklore tale that has been made obsolete. This is something that still actively happens. The comparison of us to literal animals has been the justification for many atrocious acts. It's the reason white institutions successfully push the narrative that Black people didn't deserve or even want to be freed from slavery. The history of comparing Black people to monkeys is gross and unsettling. So to see a character with brown skin mimic the sounds and movements of one, no matter the context, is insensitive at best and actively oppressive at worst. Even if it was meant to be a joke, it's not funny. It's tired, unoriginal, and boring, just like their game. So the question begs, did the developers do this on purpose? They are a Chinese company after all. Could it be that they simply didn't make the correlation and didn't want to offend anyone? Well, it might not be that simple. China claims to have a zero-tolerance policy for racism, but they have a long history with racial prejudice too. In the 1950s, China was also oppressed by white imperialism and went on to send aid to South Africa. You'd think that this would mean that when they offered scholarships to African students to come study in their country that they'd welcome them with open arms, but that's not the case. Shanghai citizens, where XD Inc. is located, funnily enough, did not have access to international media. They'd never met a Black person before, so when these African students came to their colleges, it was very jarring. They were constantly getting into fights with one another, and this wasn't one-off situations, this happened multiple times. Full-on riots would break out and go on to injure dozens of people. Despite the government's efforts to implement Africans throughout schooling and promote tolerance, it was not working. The racism was clear. Anti-Black tension exploded, and mobs of Chinese were protesting for Africans to leave and never come back. This isn't to say that I have anything personally against China or that China is at all representative of the developers of Heartopia. To place an entire country's moral standpoint on one company would be stupid. It's simply to say that China is not immune from racism. It exists over there too, so there's really no excuse for something like this. They should be at the bare minimum informed that this sort of thing is not okay. XD Inc. does not deserve a pass or excuse for this. Now, Heartopia has since taken this quest out and issued an apology on their Discord server, saying, "It has come to our attention that certain players have raised concerns and criticisms regarding the conduct of an in-game NPC following an incident in which he inadvertently consumed a poison mushroom in Heartopia. We appreciate the feedback that brought this matter to our attention. Moving forward, we will take this incident as a learning opportunity and strive to promote an inclusive and congenial environment." Wow. Wow, Heartopia, thanks for promising not to make black people monkeys in your game anymore. How progressive, how forward thinking. It's very demure, it's very mindful.
Very thoughtful, very grown woman in. Very single mom in. Very demure.
This half-assed, half-baked apology was the best that they could come up with, and I'm not surprised that they couldn't write a better apology. They can't even make their own art. Only they lied within their own apology. Promoting a inclusive and congenial environment apparently also means allowing your players to dress their characters up in blackface and mimic slaves. There has been an onslaught of users on the platform dressing their characters up in what appears to be minstrelsy. For over a century, white networks would make and distribute a show dedicated to dressing up in blackface and using stereotypes to depict African Americans as lazy, stupid, and simple-minded. With pitch black skin and big red lips, they would entertain the masses as they dehumanized black people. This is obviously very harmful, disgusting, and racist. I don't understand why I need to explain that. We're here though. Users are also using the darkest skin tone available and dressing up in all white clothes, which very obviously mimics slaves. They're showing up to POC players' houses in the game and laughing at them. This Reddit user explains that they clicked on these people's profile pictures and their characters don't normally look like that. So they did this intentionally to show up and harass them. Naturally, this is disappointing and distressing to players, so of course they are turning to both the Heartopia Reddit thread and the Heartopia Discord server. You'd assume that this is a good thing and that the developers are being very diligent to try to address their concerns. Instead, they're banning these people for speaking. The moderators on the Discord server are muting people for up to 7 days for complaining or even offering mild critique. This muting is for allegedly not following the rules. And what kind of environment do you facilitate when you ignore people's reports and then punish them for saying anything? Heartopia is not responsible for people dressing up in blackface or showing up as slaves to harass other players. However, they are to blame for facilitating and therefore enabling this environment. When you allow users to express racism and ignore people for caring, it sends a very clear message. They are responsible for creating an environment where people can get away with doing these things. That is 100% their fault. This behavior is seen within the subreddit too. Any and all posts relating to players' concerns have been deleted. Now, someone did come and clarify that an ex-moderator was responsible for most of this, and they redirected everyone to a mega thread for complaints. But taking down every single existing complaint on the main thread is problematic in nature. Every single person who wants to have their voice heard who already said something is going to have to go into this complaints thread. Moderators claimed that they organized it this way because a lot of people were complaining that they just wanted to look at regular gameplay and the complaints were driving down the vibes. They wouldn't want the people who just want to speak positively about the game to feel uncomfortable, right? But imagine how uncomfortable the black players are who are voicing their concerns. They're the ones that don't feel safe in the game that they're playing in, only to turn around and be treated like their pain is bringing down the vibes of their cozy life simulator. If you think that this is a rare situation amongst multiplayer online games, you are sadly mistaken. Games like Call of Duty, Fortnite, and really any game where players can speak over a microphone is a cesspool for this type of thing. As soon as users think you sound like a black person, you get called racial slurs left and right. This has been going on for a long time, and if studios have done anything to combat this, it hasn't been anything substantial, because it still happens today.
Other games that I was playing as well. I remember when GTA 5 Online came out. This was something that I dealt with as well, you know, getting called N-words, monkeys, all types of stuff.
I quit playing video games this past year. Everybody has heard a black voice before, and the only thing they know about black people is racism.
If there's anything that I've learned from defending marginalized communities, it's that people in mass do not care. Fighting the good fight is still important, but I would be lying if I said I haven't turned a little cynical. People are not only going to continue playing this game, they are going to continue to buy into it. Saying let's boycott doesn't work. The real people will do so, and the others will do what they do. Until Heartopia directly addresses players dressing up in minstrel makeup, which is quite literally the bare minimum, everyone should stop giving them money. But they won't. Catch me in my Doomer era all 2026. I actually want to give a really big shout out to content creator Tanny Games. Despite her Heartopia gameplay giving her a boost of views on her channel, she has decided to stop playing it in light of this news.
I will no longer be playing Heartopia. This is not okay. That is the bare minimum that I think I can do, is not playing this game, not supporting it, making sure I listen and uplift the voices of POC creators who are harmed by this content.
Tanny Games is a breath of fresh air in today's climate, and I hope that everyone else feels inspired by her level of allyship and integrity. She didn't have to do what she did. We see you. Thank you. The point is, people of color have to experience racial prejudice in subtle and not so subtle ways on a day-to-day basis. These people want to retreat into video games the same way that every other gamer does. This isn't the case for all, but many also face mental health issues and use cozy games specifically to help work through their traumas, or at least take their minds off of it for a while. Go check out this video that I made that touches on this subject if you haven't already. Asking companies to be diligent or at least speak out against racism on their platform is not a big ask. It never will be. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to support me further, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. I have quite a few new members. I appreciate you guys. You get early access to my YouTube videos, and you also get exclusive videos you won't see anywhere else. Please like and share this video. Let everyone know that until XD Inc. says something about people dressing up in blackface, this is what they stand for: racism, bullying, and silencing. I'll see you in the next one.